Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth. Flipper, welcome to the cabin. We are going to address something that I rarely talk about and I get questions about all the time, and I want to know your solution to this problem. And it really has to do with having too much inventory that just never sells. What in the world do resellers do with that stuff that just never moves? I turned my AC off back there, kept it on to the last second to keep it cool in here. We do have some insulation after all. So I've said before that a very small percentage of the stuff that I buy never sells. And I got some kickback on that. They're like, oh, tons of my stuff never sells and I have to donate it and whatever. And I think it really comes down to how you source. But I want to deal with some options out there, some things that I've heard from folks, some things that I do. And for those of you who aren't resellers out there, it is an issue. There are a lot of us resellers, if we're honest out there, that have items that they have had for years that never ever sells. I think most of us who are true pickers, meaning you're picking items, you're not buying just giant lots in storage units or auctions or something like that. There should be very, very few of those items if you've been doing this long enough, because you should know about sell-through rate and pricing and all those things. And you should be able to avoid those things that will never sell at any price. So I really believe that this issue affects certain people way more than it affects others. Here's a Crisco racing hat right there. Didn't sell for a lot, and it really doesn't even meet my criteria, but I thought it was so cool and such good shape, I'd give it a shot. Sold quickly, $10.40 plus shipping. I really envision the folks that really struggle with this. There's a couple of things. One is they're buying in bulk, whether it's an auction house or a storage auction or buyouts, state sale, leftovers, whatever, and they see these items that have some sell-through rate. You know, lower dollar items, maybe they're not that lower dollar item, but they don't have a good sell-through rate. And it's hard for them to cast an item aside. I just talked about this one right here. This could have been a really long tail item. If I didn't, well, if it wasn't in great shape, and if I didn't put a really competitive price on it out there. So there are some issues with some people who just can't pass away the value of what that item might bring. But there are devastating effects to stores, in my opinion, and to storage and to your lifestyle and it invading your home, if you make the decision all the time to list those items with low sell-through rate. And at some point, you have to face facts. You have to make decisions. What do you do with those items? And we're going to go through all those things. Here's an item. Look at this. This is something, I literally bought this, it has to be 3 years ago, y'all. 3 years ago. And I saw a comp when I bought it, paid like $1 for it at a sale. It's Airship Genesis, Legendary Bible Adventure plush. And I saw a comp, none listed, saw a comp for like $50. I'm like, sweet, I got a deal. Well, it just sat there and sat there and sat there. And it finally sold for $22 plus shipping. I have relisted that item twice in the past. I have lowered the price and it's gone on 30% off sales. And I finally just decided, hey, I'm going to relist this thing one more time, take it down, sell similar, use the same pictures, all that stuff, and put a price out there that somebody can't resist. And I guess that's what we did, $22 plus shipping. But you can't just ignore it. I could have, I suppose, just let that item sit out there for $49.95 for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. But at some point, you got to clear stuff off that's not selling. So the biggest key is don't get yourself in that situation to begin with. But if you do find yourself in that situation, there's one option, the delist, the relist, the cross-listing is another option as well. And for me, it usually comes down to figuring out where the current rate is, the current price point is to get that thing sold. And if it is a low sell-through rate item, and that one's kind of different, it's just a rare item, right? You got to find the right buyer. But you got to find the right buyer and they have to agree to that price. And so I was willing to finally get rid of that thing at a way lower price than I originally listed it for, because what's the alternative? You clog up your store forever. Had to come out here. Jess has been working on the next whatnot shows, and I sold some glass. This is Dansk right here. They're like, what do they call these things? Candle, I don't know what they are. Dansk is a good name though. I paid $5 for all 4 of these, and they sold for $25 plus shipping. And as I'm getting down off this ladder right here, you see Pepper out there? She's waiting to get in. You know you're not supposed to be in there. So, do you have a system? You know, there's all kinds of systems, and I want folks to put theirs in the comments below. First of all, what percentage of stuff that I go through the time to put on eBay, what percentage of that stuff doesn't sell for me? What percentage of the stuff that you've actually listed on eBay do you eventually cut bait with? I have said in the past it's less than 1%, and that is the truth. If you look at the numbers, for me, it's less than 1%. It's because I most of the time do the due diligence, and that doesn't include some of these multi-quantity items. You know, I've got thousands of ET items, right? That stuff's going to be on there forever, right? So you throw that out. You know, the other stuff, it eventually sells. And lately, because we've had shopcommons.net, I have pulled some items down that haven't sold that would increase that, but I would have treated it differently before I started using that with these shoes, for instance. I would relist them multiple times, let them go on that 30% off sale. I don't even mess with the 510, and I'm not saying you shouldn't. You maybe should, but I go right to that 30% after like 250 days, 200 days, depending on what mood I'm in. And a lot of these sales you'll see today sold because of that. They had been around too long. There's something that changed about the marketplace, or they had a low sell-through rate to begin with that really necessitated doing something. And there is a serious opportunity cost, both damage, in my opinion, to your store and its own activity that hurts sales, as well as the opportunity cost of storage. And so at some point, you got to do something. Some people have garage sales even, and they'll just pull items. I don't like to make that my first option. I hate garage sales anyways, as far as having them, because where I'm at, you just don't get much traffic out in the middle of nowhere. But, you know, taking it to the flea market, for instance. But what do you try first? What do you do to get that old stuff to sell? To me, the relisting process, whether it's delist, relist, or sell similar, whatever it is you use, and there's arguments about that. I think they both work somewhat. I usually do the sell similar for myself. I think that is the number one strategy. And research that price point again, because the markets change often. And sometimes I'll look and I'll be like, yeah, okay, the market's changed on it, but the sell-through rate is atrocious. So do you want to relist that item, even at a way reduced price? You got to make those decisions because you've invested time and money into these items, and sometimes it's too hard to cut bait, but sometimes you got to figure out where that price point is. You got to figure out what's worth it to you. And one thing I definitely hear from folks, so is that it? I don't know if this is it or not. I think it is. It's a Mickey Mouse Loris watch. I thought the other one had more color in it than this though. Well, I'll look at this one, see if this one is it. It sold for $9.95 plus shipping. That one was definitely it, so that's cool. And that's been listed for a while. It's kind of odd, you know, I listed a ton of those Disney watches at the same time. Some sold for really good money right off the bat. Some didn't sell quite as quickly because every single item has its own sell-through rate. And it also depends on the price, the listing, the condition, all kinds of stuff. So, you know, I think doing work beforehand is the most important thing to do. However, we're all stuck with this situation on items. Very, very few of us have massive sell-through rates on our whole store. And you gotta just cut bait sometimes. One thing I hear from folks all the time is when they finally do that hard work that nobody wants to do, they feel so much better. They've cleared out space. They don't look at an item with contempt like that's been here forever. It frees up some bandwidth up here, and it allows you to proceed and make good decisions going forward. I got an item back here that kind of fits this model, if I can find it here. This was its last chance. It wasn't going to get another chance after this. If this one didn't work, it was gone. I had to dig it out of the bottom of that bin because they've been there forever. They were my daughter's many moons ago. And I'm like, donate them or see if I can make some money off of them. Finally just got them on a 30% off sale. And they sold $9.07 plus shipping. But if that sale wouldn't have worked. So do you have that system? Do you have that, I don't know, schedule, I guess you could call it, as to when is it time to finally cut bait? Do some people just, hey, if it doesn't sell within this amount, they do the sale. And if it doesn't sell, it's gone. Because it's not even worth their time in order to do the delist, relist, because they've got other merchandise with better sell-through rate, with better ROI, and they just decide to do it that way. I think that's okay too. and let that inform you as you pick in the future. So another Ertl Dukes of Hazzard car case that's sold, and that one sold for, I think, a little less than the other one because of condition, $33.20 plus shipping. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you remember I did that the last September. We just did everything. We went over everything in the store, decided, hey, we're going to leave these up. Hey, we're going to take these down. We're going to relist all these. We're going to go through, we're going to do inventory and pull older items that we don't think will sell. And there was very few of those because we hadn't exhausted every option. But we did do that, and when we had everything back up and posted, a lot of those old items started to sell because we put them at the price point that dictated they would probably sell even as low sell-through rate items. I am in the eBay cave here, and I hear the dogs barking upstairs, so I have no doubt that Blue Ridge Mama is finally home for the day, which is awesome because I can beg her to come help me ship. Oh, I'm not gonna be able, yeah, I got it out of here. Sold another one of these Black Rifle Company grenade mugs. $20.95 plus shipping. You know, I know a few people who say they do inventory once a year and go through their entire store. That's not feasible for some folks. Since I have my storage system by like items, I like the idea much better of saying, all right, this month we're going to go through all of these bins up here. Next month, all of those. Next month, all of those. Next month, this area right here. And we actually just did that with 2 bins back there last month, and then we did it with the middle section of shoes just, geez, 6-7 days ago at this point. No, more than that, 10 days ago, and we delisted a lot of the shoes, relisted a lot of them, and then made a giant lot of ones that had decent value. We put them over on shopcommons.net, and they sold, and there's enough value in there for folks, because we just didn't do that on any item. We needed to make more space. It wasn't stuff that just hadn't sold. It was stuff that we had just listed not too long ago as well, because we were making space. So we've got that option now as well, because some of the options just aren't on the table. I'm not having a garage sale, for instance. But that is a decent option for some folks, for sure. So what is your system? Tell me below. I hear some dogs outside. What do you want, bud? She's not home? Yeah. Somebody, oh, it was just a mailman that showed up, huh? Well, thanks for coming in to visit. Maybe we'll do the early joke today. Here, just hang around. Just hang around. We'll do the early joke. Let me do this sale. Dibdit.com. We said we put this over there for $5 deal of the day. And I paid $1 for it, so I'm still making money. And it sold to Kira's Closet. This little Golden Girls shirt. And I got to come up with the deal of the day for today. Even if I don't announce it on here, there's always one over there. You can go check it out at Dibdit.com. I guess Turner just left us. He don't want to do the Commonwealth comedy for today, huh? All right, Turner came back with Wallen, who's been a bad boy today, chasing everybody around. What do you got? Some Commonwealth comedy?
Where do Eskimos keep their money?
Where do Eskimos keep their money? I think I know this one. What is it?
In a snowbank.
Very good, buddy. Thank you.
Bye.
Turner is out there watching Wallen today because he has been running around the neighborhood, which is, we don't really have a traditional neighborhood. There's lots of space and not too many houses, but he's been watching them for me. Our system is pretty much list them, wait for a couple 100 days, put them on 30% off. If they don't sell after that, take them down, figure out what's wrong with that listing, figure out what you did wrong to begin with. Maybe it was a bad buy. And redo the listing, redo the price, and let it run for another 200 days. If it doesn't sell on that 30% off, then it's time to make some drastic decisions. I think these are the ones that sold here. Pretty sure. I thought they'd go for more, but we paid $5 for them. They sold for $24.95 plus shipping. What do they say? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Something like that, right? And so making sure you're putting up stuff that has a decent sell-through rate. I think this one, large bar pan, is the one that sold. And I want to say I paid $15 for this one. They were asking $20, and I put 2 together for $30. I think that's what happened. $49.95 plus shipping. I saw that one had a message. I thought it went to a viewer, but it didn't. It is not going to a viewer. Check this out. Hello, dear seller. Kindly ask you to not include the invoice and ship my order as soon as possible. If the item is not available, please notify me. Thanks in advance. Best regards. And then the name on it looks like it's some kind of Cyrillic beginning here to that, so it's probably going to Eastern Europe somewhere, and that's fine with me. I'll take that sale all day long for 50 bucks. 15 into 50 is a good little margin. And I do not advocate for underselling, undercutting the market drastically, unless you know it is a low sell-through rate item. I have no problem with undercutting the market on something that's not hardly selling at all just to get it gone. Try to not do that in the first place, but I just got a bonanza sale, and let me tell you, all you folks over there, I just want to thank you. We've just had 3 sales since I started this video, and we're up to 9 for today, and it's 3 o'clock, so that continues to do well. Maybe that is an option. Not to sell off your death pile over there. That's not what I'm talking about. But maybe pass it on to an alternative type of reseller who sells in an antique booth or something like that before you just go redonate it. But, you know, I caution against that too, because we just don't want junk over there. Some folks are selling some really good lots right now, as I have. So that's really what we're looking for. But hey, you know, maybe it is an option. So what did I sell on Bonanza? Some mosquito clip repellent that I got super cheap. Sold on Bonanza for $29.65 plus shipping. Let me go grab it. Actually, it was out here. I went inside and I'm like, oh no. I thought I was running out of space in what bin would I normally put this in? I suppose I'd normally put it in this one, but it was running out of space, so I thought I put it inside, but I didn't, and this is an off refill. I bought it at a yard sale for next to nothing. They had like a couple of these and some other stuff for like dirt cheap. $1, I think, for the whole bag. That was not bad. Bonanza sale, $29.65 plus shipping. I had a note on my storyboard over there to thank Mary. I think I did this last video, but in case I didn't, I want to thank Mary for buying plans for the Commonwealth Picker shipping table over on CommonwealthPicker.com. You know, this is part of your space as well. That's why I like having it and folding down boxes, because boxes that aren't folded that you're getting for free even, I would advocate for cutting those down as well, because space is such a commodity for some of us. Some of us, it's not. And I have way more space than I used to have, but as my business has grown, you take up that space as well. So that's part of that process. How many of y'all make that decision only when you've run out of space or you're so cluttered? Wallen wants out. And I was fortunate enough to have the ability, thanks to the Animan right there, and the money that was coming in for that, to create my space the way I wanted to. And then I added in the listing shit out there. I know people don't have that opportunity. I was fortunate that I did, and I was able to create what I thought was about the max that I wanted to ever handle, which is 2,000 items. And we are sitting at around 1,800 right now. And I think we could handle 2,000 items, but not too many more without making drastic changes to what we're doing. But there are some folks out there who will just be dedicated to, like, if they don't sell something in a month, it's getting discounted, it's getting whatever. They're just so dedicated to that sell-through rate. And that's not quite me, but I can certainly understand the model like that, depending on the space and the way you want to run your operation and the sourcing. And I have so loved these drawers, adding these drawers, and being able to, if you haven't been around a while, actually have underneath this. My original plan was for the bubble wrap to go and feed through here, so I could use the smallest amount of space for shipping that I possibly could and keep it organized. By the way, haven't shouted out American Bubble Boy Bubble Wrap in a while. Thank you to Joel. There's that link down below. Also the tape, my go-to tape over there. This was the other thing I did because I didn't want this to be wasted space, to create storage up here to make everything run smoothly and to use as much of the space in this shed as I could. Instead of, if this was blocked off here, I couldn't access all this stuff back here, so I just cut it open and we can access it that way, which has really worked pretty good. I'd love to see some other, matter of fact, go over to Trash to Cash Podcast Facebook group and post your workspace and see if some other folks will do theirs. I want to see how other people run their businesses based on space and see if I can get some creative ideas. All right, back in the eBay cave. So this is where I keep the electronics. This one right here is what's sold, and it's sold on 30% off because it's been around way too long. And, you know, I got a funny story about this one. It's because I knew when I bought it that it was probably going to be, you don't ever really know. It may very possibly be a low sell-through rate item that would be hanging around for a while. It's an old vintage Fisher cassette deck, and it had a cool little look to it. And the old guy who sold it to me, I can't remember what price he had on it, like 20 bucks or something. It's towards the end of the day, and I'm like, hey, like, I don't want to offend you or anything, but I'll give you $5 for it. And boy, did I get tore apart in the comments for that one, because it's like $5, he's asking 20 and whatever. And I had a better comp on it than what we sold it for, because it was 30% off. So it happens, and I did it. I didn't do it because I was trying to rip somebody off. I did it because I knew this thing was going to be a low sell-through rate item that could hang around forever, and it takes up space. And so for me to take that risk, it needed to be $5, because this is where we ended up. $24.50 plus shipping. If you'd told me that when I bought it, I might not even have offered $5 for it. So it's still a profit, but is that really worth it? This kind of a packing job, waiting, storage for $24.50? Not really. Now, if I would have got the full asking price of $40, then that's a different story. Sold another one of those Carson Wentz jerseys, and these I knew wouldn't be great, but again, they were absolutely free. Didn't pay a dime. So $12.60 free shipping. Even though it's going to hang around for a while, it doesn't take up too much space up there. I'll take that sale. I decided I wasn't going to go through and talk about all my shopcommons.net sales, but I would maybe pick one out from time to time, and I just sold a lot of t-shirts. No, they were polo shirts. There were 28 of them. They were long sleeve. Some of them were really good. I just made the decision because of space and the low sell-through rate of some of those items that I've got hanging up in there that I wasn't going to add to that mess. I was going to take the quick buck, and I sold it over there. I wouldn't have done that if it was a different type of item, but I had no space either out here to hang clothes or in there. And there was 28 shirts. And they were worth, resale value, undoubtedly $400 worth. Undoubtedly. Like low end. And maybe as high as $600-800 possibly, depending. I didn't go through all the shirts. There were some nice ones in there. And I looked up a couple of the first 5 that I pulled out, and 2 of them had sold pre-owned at $30. I'm like, okay, this is going to be really good for some folks. So I decided not to pick through it and sell it over there. And I sold it 28 into $100 plus shipping, all in one listing, gone. And for me, that's not necessarily the best decision economically over the long run, but for me, it was at that time because of my space issues, because of the way I'm trying to focus my models a little bit. And I'm happy I did that one. So there's one of my sales over there. I've now got up to 25 listings, 23 sales. Really cool. And I almost forgot to thank Donald. Donald bought one of our Enema Man, right there. The original, the Enema Man, are these right here. Ours that we've branded ourselves, because Fleet has trademarked Enema Man, so I use Enema Man for ours right there over on CommonwealthPicker.com. And Donald, we appreciate it. And I hope if you have some of these low sell-through rate items, this guy helps you to get things moving. So we appreciate you. We appreciate the sale. And you are now one of thousands of people to have one of these in their eBay store, sitting on their shelf or something. And we hope he gets things moving for you.
Howdy, good folks of YouTube.
Death Pile Picker just showed up. You better have a nice little order for me.
Yeah, I did.
All right, so I have some sales here. I had to take my list inside. Oh my goodness, stranger danger. This right here, year 4. I sold, geez, what did I sell here? I've got 5 different sales. Not that you care about the price here, but we have been doing so good on these. Uh-oh, look at that. That one's got, we're going to have to fix that one. That one's got an issue. But those are selling for $17.95. This one is selling for $25.95. And we sold a lot of 2 right there. Is that right? No, the year 1. Well, I don't know what I do with the year 1. I gotta go find it, but $44.90 plus shipping. So about a little over $100 in sales going on here with these today. And of course, I forgot something as I go to ship here. And we sold some of these comics. They're like the thicker ones, the book ones. Amazing Spider-Man. 2-book lot right there, $16.95 plus shipping. I wasn't quite sure about these, but I had no cell phone service, and they were $2. Lands End hiking boots. And I'm like, for $2, they'll be all right. Maybe sell for $25. They didn't, but they sold for $18 for some Land End hiking boots. plus shipping. All right, I am unfortunately gonna have to cut this one short today because I've got some folks in town. Obviously, we got some dinner to go to tonight and all that stuff. Reagan's got a little appointment and all that. Hopefully she's already been on this video. If she hasn't, she'll be on the next one. So again, let me know your tips, your tricks, your plan, your schedule for items, and how you deal with those items that just haven't sold. I'm curious to know below. We appreciate you as always stopping by. I hope your sales are going well, or as well as could be expected in this slow time of year for some folks. We appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you next time.